Hello and welcome to the first video of my LCK 2024 preview series. We're going to cover D Plus Kia, otherwise known as Damwon Kia, Damwon Gaming, former world champions. Big changes this past offseason with this team. They have let Canyon go, as well as Kana and Deft and Bible. So four big moves out of them. Bible, I guess you could say 3.5 big moves. Some people thought Bible should have been the starting support. They've changed head coaches from last year. They've brought back Zepha, and they have added Kingen and Aiming to the squad. The last 3 years, in 2021, they went 28-8 in the regular season. In 2022, 21-15, and then last year, 23-15. A team that consistently goes to international events and should be considered a world's contender more often than not. A very solid team that if the patch had fit them, they probably could have made a serious run. Last Worlds, slightly disappointing, but they got there, right? And frankly, you just need a seat at the table and see what happens. Average age of this year's roster is going to be 21.2 years old. So in top lane, we have Kingen. Kingen is it's a 5. Yeah, 11 minus 2, 9. Why do I have... Sorry, I'm 6, 9, 11... 11, 9. The average age of this roster is supposed to be 21.8, not 21.2. So Kingen, 23 years old, joining from HLE, former world champion with DRX in 2022. Weak side top laner. In 115 games last year, had a 2.9 KDA, 8.2 CS per minute, 51.2 KP. Screaming, weak side, right? Not very involved. Is dying a bit because he's not getting a lot of attention. 21% of the team's gold, 443 damage per minute, which was 22% of damage. He's not involved, so he's not getting a lot of damage. On average, down 100 gold, 4 CS, up 30 XP. Still put up 21 solo kills, played 16 different champions last year. Nar, Kesante, Renekton accounting for half of his games played. Now, this was a puzzling move because Thanatos is behind him. And Thanatos is now inactive, which makes you wonder, is he sitting it out? Did he tell D+, hey, I'm sitting out till the end of my contract because you skipped over me. I should be in the LCK and I'm not. I think there's an argument to be made. He should be. At 19 years old, he was dominant again last year in Challengers. 127 games, had a 3.9 KDA, 8.8 CS per minute, 51.9 KP. Still 21% of the team's gold. 472 damage per minute, 22.3% of the team's damage, and was ahead of his opponents. 155 gold, 5 CS, 150 XP, 45 solo kills, and 15 champions. Siwoo, 16 years old, currently listed as the starter for Challengers, being brought up from Academy. 73 games played in Academy last year, and keep in mind, 16 years old. So 4.3 KDA, 8.1 CS per minute, 57% KP, so a little more involved, not getting as much farm. 21.5 gold share, 689 DPM. That is a lot of fucking damage out of a top laner. 15 champions played. Biggest question mark on this team, Lucid in the jungle. At 18 years old, Lucid's coming in as, in my opinion, the top prospect this year, probably in all 5 roles across the 4 major regions. He is disgustingly talented. He's been this way for a while. He's highly touted. He comes with some serious pop. I expect him to be very good for this team. 127 games, keep in mind, challenger stats, but a 4.4 KDA, 5.8 CS per minute, 71 KP. He's carry-oriented, 18.5 gold share, 294 damage per minute, which was 14% of damage. Would get ahead of his opponents, 225 gold, 5 CS, 240 XP. Had 21 solo kills, 12 champions played. Lee Sin, Wukong, Sejuani accounting for just over half of his games. So Lee Sin, his most commonly played last year. Not a lot of players did do that in last year's meta. We'll see if he does that this year with D+. Behind him is Charvel. Charvel's only 16 years old, a player that I had identified last year, somebody that in Academy looked really good, and now he's going to get boosted from Academy to Challengers. These numbers are still consistent. 37 games played, 4.8 KDA, 5.5 CS per minute, 75 KP. So not as carry-oriented as Lucid. Giving up a little bit of farm to then go and be involved in team fights a little bit more. 19.1 gold share, 426 damage per minute, hence being more involved, going to deal more damage. 9 champions played. I would argue the crown jewel of D+, Kia, Damwon Gaming since their start. Like Canyon, I would say actually Canyon was that, but now Canyon's gone with Gen G. So Showmaker, 23 years old. We'll see how he does without Canyon. 103 games last year and put up excellent numbers. A lot of people thought he was lackluster, and I think there could be an argument, but at the same time, his stats and most of his play, Showmaker was good. 5.2 KDA, 8.9 CS per minute, 65.1 KP. So he wasn't as involved as other mid laners, but he was also packing a punch. 22.3 of the team's gold, 604 damage per minute, which is 27% of the team's damage. He was the solid secondary carry on the team. Damage indicates that. On average, up 70 gold, 2 CS, 115 XP. Only 19 solo kills, but 23 champions played. Azir, LeBlanc, Jace accounting for just over 1/3 of his games, 37%. And that's carry-oriented, right? We're looking at Jace and LeBlanc. Similar to Thanatos, Polbey is inactive. Got to imagine, same thing. Who knows? These guys might have had offers from other LCK teams, and D+ said no. I could see that being a reason why a player would want to sit out. Hey, if you're not going to give me an opportunity for a promotion, then I'm going to sit. 19 years old, 123 games played, 4.1 KDA, 8.9 CS per minute, 65 KP, 21.9 gold share, 580 damage per minute, 27.6% of damage. Secondary carry on the team, clearly. On average, up 165 gold, 1 CS, 150 XP against challenger mid laners. Had 31 solo kills and 23 champions played as well. The team has Saint to play for challengers this year. Saint is also 19 years old and 41 games in Academy. 3.6 KDA, 8.7 CS per minute, 68.5 KP, 23.2 gold share, and 758 damage per minute. 14 champions played. It's clear that Academy for Korea is very feisty. It's probably similar to the LDL in that they just kind of are fighting all the time because these DPMs are crazy high. Or their team was just really feisty in general, and we'll see how that affects the Challengers roster this year. Because it looks like at least the top side of the rift for this year will be the Academy team, where the bot side stays the same. At the LCK level, you have Aiming at 23 years old, a player that I consider to be very underrated. Of course, there's off the rift issues that I'm not even going to really talk about. But in terms of what's on the rift, he is very good. He's very carry-oriented, one of the harder carries in the game. 129 games played, 7 KDA with KT Rolster last year. 10.3 CS per minute, 71.1 KP. 25.7% of the team's gold. Now, 598 DPM, which is 29.4% of KT's damage. That is a bit concerning, right? Hard carry. You're getting a lot of resources. Well, you need to deal more damage than that. You need to be up around 650, 700 DPM to represent the amount of resources being given to you. That makes sense. Maybe in this roster that will become a possibility with better coaching. Who knows? On average, up 210 gold, 240 XP at 15 minutes, 15 solo kills, 14 champions played. Zeri, Kesa, and Aphelios accounting for 53% of his games. Now, another D+ Kia prospect, Rahel, 19 years old. I think Rahel has a case to be made that he should be in a major region spot, but he is not sitting out like his other teammates are, so one has to wonder what's going on. 130 games played, 5.3 KDA, 10.4 CS per minute, 67 KP. So 2 out of every 3 kills, roughly. high farm, good KDA, 25 gold share, but still passive. Under 600 DPM, 28% of the team's damage. So just barely more than Pull Bay. But keep in mind, on average, had quite a bit of Challengers 80 carries, 190 gold, 8 CS, 95 XP, 11 solo kills, 15 champions played. Then you have Jin Boom behind him. Jin Boom is 16 years old. Good numbers in Academy. Maybe the one player I would say out of the Academy roster that hasn't necessarily dominated to the point where he deserves an promotion. But at 16 years old, I mean, what would hurt playing Academy for his year 17? I mean, I don't know. 73 games, 4-1 KDA, 9.5 CS per minute, 65.5 KP, 24.6 gold share, over 700 DPM. So he had pretty much one. I guess you could argue he was 2A in terms of damage on the Academy team. It goes Saint, then Jin Boom and Siwoo. 11 champions played by Jin Boom. Support. So they have 4 supports in their system. Kellen, 22 years old. A lot of people give Kellen crap for last year. I thought Kellen did very well. And then they started screwing with the coaching. They're screwing with his scrim time, giving some to Bible, because of greater issues than himself, in my opinion. Yes, I do believe that you could argue the support role should be a shot calling role because they're not doing as much. I think that's a very valid thing to say and should be a valid part of the critique of a player, in which case Bible was doing that better, and maybe for the sake of D plus Kia, it would make the team better. But at the same time, Kellen, in my opinion, started to falter only when they started splitting scrim time, they started screwing with the coaching staffs and things like that. And then after that, Kellen just wasn't the same. And in part, I think it's because of that. I am hoping that in 2024, he returns to that form. And the form of what he did in spring and early summer. I feel like he's been one of the top 3 supports over the last 4 splits when you take all into account. So it's something I want to monitor and see. 95 games played. Keep in mind there are challenger stats in here. 5.5 KDA, 76.5 KP, 187 damage per minute, a high DPM. Played a lot of 80 carry champions and high DPM supports. Vision score per minute, 3.28, would place just over 8 wards every 5 minutes, a control ward every other minute, and clear 2 wards every 5 minutes. 19 champions played. Nautilus, Yumi, and Lulu accounting for 1/3 of his games played. Thumb is the CK support. Only 16 years old, came up from Academy last year. 29 games played. And at 16 years old, what do you expect, right? A 2.6 KDA, 70 KP are not great numbers, but at the same time, this is a very young player with a lot of growing to do. 122 DPM, 3.27 vision score per minute, 1.62. So 8 wards every 5 minutes, 2 control wards every 5 minutes, and actually cleared 2 wards every 5 minutes. So his vision, pretty solid. 7 champions played. And right now, the Academy roster only has 2 players listed on it, Chrissy and Sup. So Chrissy is 18 years old, 28 games played, 3.1 KDA, 68.4 KP, 154 damage per minute, played 8 champions. And then Sup, who's, short for support, maybe too young of a player to put their name on Leaguepedia. I think that's very possible given that there are a lot of younger players in Academy in the LCK. And, his numbers aren't great, but it is what it is. 9 games, 2.5 KDA, 62.3 KP, 146 damage per minute, played 4 different champions. And I think we should also keep in mind, after actually going over this, Jin Boom probably deserves a little more leniency, given how many different supports they may have played with this past year. And at such a young age, trying to just take this all on is probably a lot. And Zephyr is now the coach. So Zephyr used to be Don Monkia's coach, and has also been a coach of SKT. 116 and 64 in his career in best of threes in the LCK. 47 and 23 in individual games in the playoffs or regional finals. And then internationally, he's 39 and 19 over his career as a coach on coaching staffs. Keep in mind, not necessarily head coach, but whatever Leaguepedia accredits him with. So we'll see how he does. This roster is a contender. I'm not saying it's the best roster out there, but I think that there is an angle here where I could say I could see this roster getting to Worlds for sure. I don't think that that's far-fetched. Really interested to see how Lucid does. Definitely going to be in the conversation. I think I said it with Team Vitality's video a couple days ago. Lucid and Douglas are going to be the two that I'm identifying as Rookie of the Year candidates in the jungle. Of course, one plays at a higher level, a more competitive region, but at the same time, I'm still interested to see how that goes. So that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.